Hari Om. Let's start with a prayer. Om Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsa Chanora Mardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Bande Jagadgurum Tvameva Mata Cha Pita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhusya Sakha Tvameva Tvameva Vidya Dravidam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva Tvameva Sarvam Gurudeva Deva. Hari Om. We are now looking at after completing the most of the teaching by the teacher, and here he gives that Brahman alone is and everything else is only apparent, and he quotes the Chandogya Upanishad as well as the Kathopanishad. Says Ekameva Advitiyam Brahma Nehana Nasti Kinchana. So Ekameva Advitiyam Brahma says Sadeva Saumya Idamagramasi Ekameva Advitiyam Brahma. So that one without a second, that means it is infinite. So Ekam Eva Advitiyam, both all the three words mean same. So Shankaracharya interprets that it is Sajati Vijati Swagada Beda Rahitam. So one negating of any differentiation of any kind. Sajati means of the same species. That means chairs are different from tables, tables are different from, all belong to one jati. Chairs are chair jati, tables are table jati, and they have common attributes that make them one jati. And that's what essentially the jati is. Sajati means this is within the same jati, the one chair is different from another chair and different. So within the same jati there are Vedas. Vijati Veda is different jatis. That means chairs are different from tables are different from carpets and so on. That's called Vijati Veda. And Swagata Veda is internal differences. Even within the chair, the hands are different, leg is different, the seat is different, back is different. So internal differences are there. So Ekameva Advitiya means one without a second. That means none of the differences of either same jati or different jatis or internal differences of within the same Vyakti. Vyakti means one unit, like a one chair, two other chair and so on. Within that there are no differences. That means a homogeneous mass of pure existence alone. Because that is Sadeva Saumya Idamagramasid. Existence alone was there and there is no difference of any kind. Whereas other Acharya, particularly Ramanujacharya, interprets that there is no Sajati Vijati Vedas are not there, but it has internal differences. Swagata Vedas are there, and the internal differences because the Brahman, the Sat, is constituting of all the Jivas and the Jagat. And therefore they are internal parts of the totality, and each Jiva Bhinnatvam is there, Jiva Jagat Bhinnatvam is there, within the Jagat the Padartha Bhinnatvam is there, and Jiva Ishvara Bhinnatvam, Jagat Ishvara Bhinnatvam, all Bhinnatvam means differences of all kinds are there within that, and that he proposes as the total one Brahma, that means one Advaita, but within that Advaita there are the Visheshanas, these form Visheshanas, therefore called Visishta Advaita. But anyway, this statement Ekameva Advitiyam, that means one without a second, all there is only pure existence expressing itself in different names and forms, and all expressions are Vacharambanam Vikaro Namadeyam. They are only Namke Vaste, there is no reality for it. And therefore in the Kathopanishad says Nehana Nasti Kinchana, there is no other objects other than Brahman. Means I am looking not from the different attributive content of superimposed the adhyasa, that is superimposed the names and forms, but in and through the essentially they are one and the same. There are no polarity from the essential point, only from the superficial point. This is different, like a ring is different, bangle is different, necklace is different. Those differences are only Namarupatmakam, only namesake they are different. Namesake, utility sake, transactional sake, all are different, but yet from the point of the substantive, they are same as gold. And gold has not really become ring. Gold appears to become a ring, but it's only transformationless transformation. It is as though transforming, but without transforming, because it's remain gold only. And this Nehananasti Kinchana comes from the Kathopanishad. Say manasaivanudrashtavyam nehananasti kinchana mrityu samrityu mapnoti yahya naneva pasyati. In the Kathopanishad, it says, whoever sees the differences, he goes from death to death. That means he will keep on, but he is not able to see oneness, and oneness is that himself is not able to see. That means he is giving reality to the plurality, and that giving reality to the plurality is called moham. Moham is a delusion, and delusion is taking illusion as real is delusion. And because of the delusion, I am going after the objects. I depend upon the sense objects for my happiness, and all the rat race starts. Therefore, he goes from mutyo to mutyo, means life after life after life. So he is talking about death after death, means after death. Jatasya hi dhruvo mrityu dhruvam janma mritasya cha. Whatever has born has to die, and whatever dies has to be born again. So it's a recycling all the time. And the manasaivan drashtavyam nehananasti kinchana. So manasa eva drashtavyam. Here the Kathopanishad says, only using the mind one has to recognize that I am not the mind, I am the pure existent consciousness, which is ekameva advitiyam, and there is no reality to plurality including the mind also, and that is essentially nehananasti kinchana. Iha means here. So while using and transacting with the world, you declare that there is nothing here, because from the point of substantive there is nothing. Only for transactional purposes, for utility you need to use it, and therefore for transactional purposes there are differences only. So there is no substantive reality, there is only apparent polarity only. But if I take apparent polarity is really reality, and that's what is called moham, delusion. So here this statement ekameva advitiyam and Brahman nehananasti kinchana is repeated in every sloka as a part of the second line of the slokas in the next few slokas. So we did the 466, which is paripurnam anadyantam aprameyam avikriyam ekamevadvayam brahma nehananasti kinchana. We'll take a few more slokas because these are meditative slokas. The 467, sadganam chidganam nityam anandaghanam akriyam ekamevadvayam brahma nehananasti kinchana. Most of the words we are familiar. Satganam, it is a pure existence without any differentiation. So it's a mass of existence, Satganam. Chitganam, that existence is also of the nature of consciousness. So it is Satganam, Chitganam. They are not too different, but the consciousness has to exist. So it's existent consciousness. Again, means Sat and Chit. And Nityam, which is eternal, and Anandaghanam, it is also limitless because infinite, and any limitation causes unhappiness. So it is Ananda Swarupam, it is of the nature of completeness or fullness. And Akriyam, therefore since it is infinite, it cannot perform any actions. In its presence actions are being done, but itself is not a doer. Agartaham, abhoktaham. I am neither doer and enjoyer, because being infinite I cannot do, I cannot undergo transformation. Even creation is not possible also. It's only apparent creation. So Sadganam, Chidganam, Nityam, Anandaganam Akriyam, Ekamevadvayam Brahma, Nehananasti Kinchana. Next sloka 48. Pratyageka rasam purnam anantam sarvato mukham. Pratyageka rasam purnam anantam sarvato mukham. Ekamevadvayam brahma nehananasti kinchana. Pratyak Ekarasam. So Pratyak Ekarasam means that which pervades everything in all beings as Antaryami. Pratyagatma means the inner essence of everything. Aidadatma medagum sarvam tat satyam sa atma tattvamasi svetaketu. So in the Chandogya says the essence of everything means not everything, essence of everything, the substantive of everything, the adhara, adhishthanam of everything is nothing but Pratyak Ekarasam. That Ekarasam means one constant, that which pervades everything, and which is Purnam, which is infinite, and Anantam, that which is the endless, and Sarvato Mukham, and it is expressing it as all beings are being expressed through it. So it is there in everything because there cannot be anything other than it. Nehananasti kinchana. So it itself is being expressed. Gold itself is expressing varieties of ornaments. So every ornament is nothing but gold. That's why the Krishna says the Brahmarpanam Brahmahavihi Brahmagnyam Brahmanahutam Brahmaivatena Gantavyam Brahma Karma Samadhinam. So Arpanam, the ladle is Brahman, the Agni is pouring, the ghee that is pouring in the fire is Brahman, fire is Brahman, the one who is pouring is also Brahman, and the results that you come out of the karma of that yoga is also Brahman. So everything is nothing but Brahman because Nehananasti kinchana. So essentially Krishna is giving the same in a different way in the Gita also. So here it is inner essence, Pratyak Ekarasam Purnam Anantam Sarvato Mukham. The next sloka. Aheyam anupadeyam anadheyam anashrayam ekamevadvayam brahma nehananasti kinchana. So ekameva advitiyam brahma. So na iha nanasti kinchana. There is nothing in this world other than that. And ekam, that which is ekam eva advitiyam, one without a second, that alone is Brahman. And in the first line this is aheyam anupadeyam, aheyam anupadeyam, anadheyam anashrayam. So aheyam, that means it cannot be discarded, it cannot be given up. Okay, you can give up something finite. If it is infinite, where do you give up? So giving up is something where you have to go and put it somewhere else. So being infinite, you have to assume that you are that infinite only. So it is non-negatable also. So you cannot dismiss that. So what is this? What is truth? Says Trigala Abaditam Satyam. That which remains the same in all periods of time alone is real, and whatever that is completely changing cannot be real, but it cannot be unreal also. So since it is experience, therefore that's called Mithya. So Aheyam, only Mithya can be negated. Heyam. So why? Because if it is real, we cannot negate it. If it is unreal, we need not negate it. But the only Mithya that appears to be real but not really real, then we can negate it. We can negate the snake. It appears to be a snake, but it's not really snake. Therefore, we are experiencing the snake because of the conditions, and we can negate the snake when we see the rope. So negation can only come for Mithya, for apparently real but not really real, and that is aheyam. Anupadeyam, anupadeyam. So without any upadhi, that means there are no instruments even. So from Brahman point, there is no realization, because even to realize you need an instrument to realize. So there is no body, mind, intellect also, because there is nehananasti kinchana, there is nothing other than Brahman. So from the Brahman point, it is ekameva advitiyam, one without a second. So from Brahman point, no realization also, and it doesn't need to realize also, because it itself by itself is Ananda Swarupam. So anupadeyam, so upadirahitam, and anadheyam. Adheyam is support, and it doesn't have support. Support means that which depends on something other than itself for its existence. That's what is support means. So the ring is supported by gold, because ring cannot exist by itself. You can have the ring and I'll take the gold. You cannot do that. Ring existence is due to the existence of the gold only. So it is the support for the ring. So that which is support and that which is substantive, what we we call substantive means noun, and that which is substantive means the ring is not really not real round. It should be an adjective for the noun. So what is the noun? Noun is the gold, and it should say it is ringly gold or a bangly gold or necklacey gold. As we say golden ring, we made a substantive as an adjective and adjective as a substantive. That's because we are giving importance to the ring and a bangle and a necklace rather than to the gold. Whereas same way we are giving importance to the nama rupa, which is the superficial attributive content which has all the qualities. Each one is different from other, but we are not paying attention to the substantive, because substantive is all pervading and therefore it cannot be perceived also, and I cannot see the existence, but I know that it's expressing as anything, but everything is existing only. I cannot see non-existent things. So existence itself is being expressed, so I have to see that existence in particular forms only. So when I look at the form, my vision should be, hey, this is a form beautifully expressed by the existence only. That should be the vision, and that's how the one sees the oneness in spite of differences, and that's what called nididhyasanam also that we discussed. So essentially anadheyam. So it doesn't need any support because it itself supports everything, and that is anashrayam. So it doesn't need any support. If it has something else needed, that is not means it's not independent. It depends on something else. There is matta paradaram nanya pinchidasti dhananjaya. There is nothing beyond me. I am the one who is gatir bharta prabhusakshi. I am the gati, I am the end goal itself, and there is nothing beyond me. I am the supporter of everything. I am the creator, sustainer, and the dissolver also. And sustainer means it's adharam, and therefore this is it doesn't need any adharam. It is anashrayam. So aheyam, anupadeyam, anadheyam, anashrayam. Brahm ekameva advitiyam brahma nehana nasti kinchana. We'll take one more sloka, 217. Nirgunam nishkalam sukshmam, nirgunam nishkalam sukshmam, nirvikalpam niranjanam, nirvikalpam niranjanam, ekamevadvayam brahma nehana nasti kinchana. So this is sloka 470. So nirgunam, without any gunas. Why guna means properties? So it doesn't have any property. So it's essentially the statement is being interpreted. Nirgunam is by Bhagavan Ramanuja. Nirgunam according to him is it doesn't have the dosha gunas or inauspicious qualities, because for him the Brahman is also an object of worship and object of worship. Even in Vaikuntha, Lord Narayana is different from the Lakshmi. Lakshmi is different from all other jivas there. There are Nitya Mukta jivas, and there is a hierarchy of jivas there, and you can't go too close to him, because there are other people who are much more closer to, on the first name basis, maybe with the Narayana. So essentially, I may be joking, but essentially it implies that all the names essentially is attributes come to the name and a form. Form means attribute, and this is nirgunam because it's infinite. Infinite cannot have gunams. Even infinite word we said is not a description of the Brahman, because it is only negation of any finiteness for the Brahman, and that's how it's called nirgunam. And if because some acharyas even say satyam jnanam anantam brahma, and these are attributes of Vishnu also. So Bhagavan Ramanuja calls it, he is ananta kalyana gunashrayam. He is the shelter, or he is the locus of the infinite auspicious qualities. From Advaita point, that Ishvara is Saguna Brahma, and that we need for a worshipping. But when you talk about the pure Brahman, there even the gunas will be dropped. We even transcend the Ishvara to reach that state where there is no difference from Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara. That is ekameva dvitiyam brahma nehana nasti kinchana. And therefore nirgunam is only any attributes will not. That essentially Nirgunam is guna atitam. All gunas are only superficial attributive content where belongs to the objects, and he is not an object, he is the very substantive for all the objects, including the subject that I am. Nirgunam, Nishkalam. Nishkalam is essentially no parts in that. It is infinite, so there is no Swagata Vedas also. There are no parts in it or essentially modifications of that Nishkalam. Sukshmam. Sukshmam is very subtle. That means it's not like a gross where it can be perceived through either the sense organs or even the mind also. So, yan manasana manute enahur manomatam tadeva brahma tvam vidhi nedam edidam upasate. That which mind cannot see, because mind can only see objective world. So it is not even this object that can be perceived or imagined or contemplation, any concepts, all are to be dropped out. And it's not any imaginations have to be dropped out, and people describe that he is essentially in the recent Facebook. So it is the objectless awareness. We mentioned about it. It's objectless awareness. Is objectless awareness, who will know it? So objectless awareness has to be known by a mind which is an object. So in that case, what is that objectless awareness? So mind has to know that I am not the mind, I am the very consciousness which is infinite. So that's how the knowledge is. Suksham is too subtle. That's why you need a viveka. Viveka is a discriminative intellect is required. Cognitively I have to understand that what cannot be seen otherwise, I have to recognize by inquiry, by the Sukshmam. So you need a Sukshma Buddhi in order to know, not the Tishna Buddhi. Tishna Buddhi is that Buddhi that divides, that is sharp. So for analysis of objective sciences, I need a Tishna Buddhi, for where you are dividing and classifying and codifying and different phylums and different classes and so on and so forth, where we group things and different groups under classifications. That is a scientist's job. But for that you need a sharp intellect. But here we don't need a sharp intellect. We are not dividing it, we are integrating it to see oneness that pervades in all the divisions. So there already things are divided, but we want to see that one that pervades, which cannot be seen but has to be understood. Therefore, you need a Sukshma Buddhi, and itself is Sukshmam, Anoraniyam, Mahato Maha. It is smaller than the smallest and bigger than the biggest. These are not contradictions, because it is all pervading, yet cannot be seen. Even Akasha I cannot see it. The space also I cannot see. We think we know Akasha. Akasha cannot be seen. All I can see is 2 points that are separated, and that gap between the 2 points, I have to say that is a space there. Even from the science point, space is not created, and there was no space before the Big Bang also, and because of what is called singularity. Only when a bang occurred, as the particles getting separated, space is also getting created, because there is a space between the particles. So galaxies and all that is an expanding galaxies. Where do they expand? In space only. Space only. And where is the space? As they expand, space is getting created also. So here this is Suksham, Nirvikalpam. So there is no vikalpa, there is no modifications of that. And Niranjanam. Niranjanam means there is no impurity. Impurity is something other than I am, is my impurities. The dirt that is sitting on me is impurity, and I can get rid of it by, if it is a physical, by taking bath I can remove it. If it is a mental impurity, I have to do Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, those purification of the mind, because it is subtle, and subtle has to be done by the subtle process. So that is essentially Niranjanam, because it is one without a second. There cannot be anything other than it for it to have a dirt. So therefore everything is illumined by it, but itself does not touch it. This is what essentially nature of Brahman, which is Ekameva Advitiyam. Go to a few more slokas and then we will wrap up this. With this we stop here. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरि ओम। श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम।